Hi, I'm John Ngai, Director of the NIH Brain Initiative. Thank you for being here. This is our 10th annual Brain Initiative Conference, and we are celebrating an amazing 10 years of innovation from you all here, and we're looking forward to another 10 plus years of continuing this amazing pace of innovation. We have a packed meeting for you today. Before I get into my introductory remarks, we have a special welcome from Dr. Monica Bertagnolli, Director of the National Institutes of Health. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here. As you might imagine, she's very, very busy and had probably 8 scheduling conflicts, but she did take the time to make a wonderful welcoming video for us. So if we can kind of pop that up, that'd be great.
Welcome, everyone, to the 10th Annual Brain Initiative Conference, building on a decade of innovation. A decade. This is a major milestone. As NIH Director, I'm proud of the work you have done so far and so honored to be helping to open this conference where you will discuss exciting scientific developments and explore opportunities for the future, including opportunities to join forces and collaborate. Over the past 10 years, the Brain Initiative has sped the development of innovative technologies to expand our understanding of the body's most complex organ and improve how we treat, prevent, and cure neurologic and neuropsychiatric disorders. The initiative spans 10 NIH institutes and centers and brings together federal and non-federal partners to understand the human brain. Thanks to congressional support since 2014, the initiative has supported more than 1,500 projects, enabling us to understand the brain at astonishing new levels of detail. Through this work, we are making progress toward treating numerous disorders. Researchers supported by the NIH Brain Initiative have developed life-changing precision treatments for conditions like major depressive disorder, stroke, chronic pain, Parkinson's disease, and obsessive-compulsive disorder. New tools for cataloging types of brain cells have been applied to Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, and opioid use disorder, helping reveal how brain cells change in people with these conditions. With sustained support, the Brain Initiative will build on the foundational knowledge developed over the last decade to enable much-needed cures and treatments for the wide range of conditions that affect the brain. With a spirit of open science, data sharing, and wide-ranging collaboration, the initiative is delivering resources for the benefit of the entire community of researchers. This is exactly the kind of investment we need to make, bringing together people with diverse expertise and generating innovative data resources to help take a field ripe for innovation into the future and deliver treatments that can improve countless lives. I wish you all a productive and very engaging meeting.
Terrific. Before I get started, we owe a huge thank you to our program committee, our sponsors, and our staff. And I in particular want to call out one member of our staff, Gina Sampson, who made everything possible. So Gina, can you stand up, please? And, oh, come on, you can stand up. Okay, so we have a great couple of days. Again, welcome. We have 2 terrific plenary talks from Dr. Li-Chun Lo and Viviana Gradnaru, and a special panel later this afternoon featuring some luminaries who kind of made the Brain Initiative happen, so look forward to that. We have 6 concurrent symposia organized as best we could to minimize overlap, so if you don't make it to one or the other because you're at a session in person, bear in mind that these will be recorded and available on the videocast tape for your later enjoyment. We have a number of concurrent specialty sessions, a lot of really great topics for you to dive into and interact with other folks interested in these topic areas. And of course, the poster sessions, which I think you all came from. We have another one coming later on, We have a Meet the Funders session tomorrow afternoon. It's a great opportunity for you to meet not just program officers from NIH Brain, but also from other funding agencies. So please stick around for that. There's a lot of great information you can gain regardless of your position or career stage. And there are many, many other networking opportunities. It's so nice to be in person again. And please take advantage of all of that. As well as the folks online, there are different mechanisms and ways for you to stay involved with what's going on here in North Bethesda. Okay, click. Just a real quick summary of who we are and what we're about. The Brain Research through Advancing Innovative Neurotechnologies, the Brain Initiative, was launched in 2014. At the NIH, it spans 10 institutes and centers, 10 out of the 27. We're a trans-NIH initiative. And overall, it represents a partnership between 5 US federal agencies as well as private partners. And we support neuroscience broadly. We are disease agnostic, and our goal here is to provide the tools, resources, technologies that will advance the entire field, both in academic institutions as well as in the private sector. And thanks to congressional support, as Dr. Bertagnolli said, we've really done some amazing work. You all have done some really amazing work here. And we have supported now it's over 1,600 projects totaling over 3.5 billion with a B US dollars. So really quite an impressive set of accomplishments that have been made, as detailed here on this slide. Okay, we think brain is special. We're doing things around the place that no single institute or center at the NIH is doing, and arguably other organizations are doing. The focus, of course, is on innovation. We strive to do science that will truly advance the field that others aren't doing. We must be inclusive. In order for the riches that we create to benefit all, we need to take into account the subject populations we're studying, the kind of diseases that we'll eventually address, and of course, the science we do is a direct function of who is doing the science, and it's very critical that we keep that in mind at every step along the way. Science that we fund must be open. The riches, again, that we create must be available for all to use, either in their research or to help those in need. And finally, it must be ethical. Many of the projects that we're funding are really quite new, and they're both addressing and creating ethical, legal, and societal implications of work that haven't been seen before. And again, we really do strive to be at the forefront of all these issues. Now, we've had a really great year of innovative science. I just want to highlight a few. The Brain Initiative Cell Census Project has released several high-impact sets of papers detailing the molecular, cellular, physiological, and connectivity properties of all the cells in the mouse brain, as well as a draft atlas of cell types in the non-human primate and human brain. And this is really going to set the stage for a lot of the research all of you will do using this information as ground truth as you devise your experiments to really drill down on what makes circuits underpin behavior and further. Another big project that we've launched here is the Brain Connectivity Project, and this is built on several forerunner projects. Here's just one slide showing the results from the Fly Connectome project, the Flywire project, that Brain has funded in part. And this very small organism was kind of a great start for understanding the connectivity of entire brains, and much in the way that in sequencing smaller model system genomes, developed the tools and created a forerunner for having complete genome sequences of mammalian species, including humans. The Fly Connectivity Project is doing the same in terms of identifying how to get this done and how eventually to scale it up. So we're very excited about this. Stay tuned. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming from here. And already these data are being used to help people constrain and construct our hypotheses that can be tested and then, again, benchmarked against the ground truth information about connectivity. Some exciting work has come out of Jeff Flickman's lab at Harvard in collaboration with Viren Jain at Google Research, here looking at 1 cubic millimeter of human cortex. So they've actually seen some remarkable features here. It's been a triumph of not just experimental technique, but also computational technique, generating over a petabyte of data from this 1 millimeter chunk of cortex. To do an entire mouse connectome, which is one of the goals of the Brain Initiative, will occupy on the order of 500 to 1,000 times more data. which is an exabyte, so it's 1,000 petabytes, which is 1,000 terabytes. So it's a million laptop computers worth of storage. So really quite an incredible feat. The challenge is to scale up 3 orders of magnitude, but the good news is we only have to scale up 3 orders of magnitude. So stay tuned on that for the next couple of years. So really some beautiful work here. And while we're laying down the foundation for the future through these ground truth providing resources, the cell census and atlas, the connectivity maps, it's very important to understand and appreciate that we have to help people now. There are millions of people living with some brain disorder. 1 in 3 Americans, everybody in this room knows somebody, has a loved one who's living with a condition that's affecting their nervous system. And the Brain Initiative has quite amazingly started making an impact in the clinic through the application of new ways of applying deep brain stimulation, recording, track tracing to address some of these really complex conditions such as treatment-resistant depression, severe obsessive-compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, binge eating disorder, just to name a few. So we're really kind of seeing a new era in neuromodulation and in neuropsychiatry by identifying activity biomarkers through advanced recording techniques, artificial intelligence techniques to understand what these patterns mean, and then literally to be able to stimulate people back into a better state so they can actually get their lives back. So stay tuned for many of these exciting advances. Brain is driving a neuroscience revolution. We've launched 3 large, what we call transformative projects. I just skimmed over 2 of them, the Brain Cell Census Project, as well as the Connectivity Project. The 3rd project, which I won't have time to get into, is the so-called Armamentarium for Brain Cell Access. And this is a large toolkit to allow experimenters to access brain cell types for more precision-guided inquiries into neural circuit function and cell function. And ultimately, together, these 3 projects will lead the way toward precision circuit therapies, including, I think, precision gene therapies in the nervous system. And then finally, we've launched a 4th large project, the Brain Behavior Quantification and Synchronization Project. And the goal here is to develop new techniques for measuring behavioral outputs and synchronizing that information with what we already have in terms of high precision physiological readouts to understand the neural underpinnings of behavior. We're approaching that through a number of different interlocked projects using animal models, human models, sensor development, which is really an exciting area given all the advances in computer science and material science, as well as data coordination, and again, ultimately, artificial intelligence. Now, as I mentioned, much of what we do is now starting to touch directly on human lives, and Brain has taken a very proactive approach to the ethical, legal, societal implications of what we do in looking at the ethics of all of our projects in a forward-looking way. We have different ways of doing this. We have dedicated program teams. We have a neuroethics working group that advises us about these issues, and we also support scholarly research in this area, and many, if not all, of our human-based studies actually have neuroethics embedded in them. Now, some of you may have heard that Brain is in a bit of a budget pickle this year. I just want to go through that very quickly. Brain receives funding from two sources. One is the base budget to each of the 10 Brain institutes and centers, that's shown in the bottom line, and then from the 21st Century Cures Act, which has added funds on top of that. So you can see that across the top. And over the lifetime of Brain through 2023, we've enjoyed a remarkable steady increase in funding. And in 2022, the level of funding between the base and the cures was $620 million. In 2023, a decision was made to trim the base down from $468 to $230 million, but because the Cures Act authorization gave us $450 million, in fact, our budget swelled by another $60 million to $680 million. So the pickle that we find ourselves in is that in the enacted budget for FY24, the base remained stable, but as predicted, the Cures Act funds dropped by $278 million, which left us a little bit short by $278 million. So whatever funding we receive from Congress, we are dedicated to invest wisely as good stewards of taxpayers' funding. We're still investing well over $400 million a year in amazing science that you all are doing. And people have asked me, well, John, what can I do to help the cause, to get us back to a better spot? Keep doing the great science you're doing. Tell people about it. If people don't know about the great science you're doing, they won't know the value. They won't know what they'll be missing if it goes away. Each of you who are working in the U.S., you have at least one U.S. representative and 2 U.S. senators that will be happy to hear from you about the great work you're doing and the danger that will happen, the cures that will be delayed if we are kind of set back because of this shortfall. So it's up to you all to make sure that people know what you're doing. So I think one of the great strengths of BRAIN is we're changing the way we do science. I mentioned that the science we do is a function of those who do it. We have taken a very strong stance in terms of bringing as much talent to the table as possible. We have introduced this plan for enhancing diverse perspectives, which it puts it on you all to tell us how are you going to use diverse perspectives to advance your science, and there's a number of ways of doing that. And then finally, you can learn about what we're doing through these various channels, and I encourage you to do so, okay? And then let me now turn it over to our Scholar Spotlight Lightning Talks, and I just want to congratulate our winners. We have 8 winners who will give you their lightning talks in a minute once I get off the stage. And then I'd also like to congratulate our runners-up, Aaron DeLu, Peter Zook, Shreya Jaddu, and Chiara Maffei. So big congratulations to all of you. And before I step off, there's this gamification thing going on. So here's the passcode for right now. And don't run out before Dr. Lowe's lecture, but there is another passcode for the plenary lecture.